and to the viewers of our part 3 tutorial. So in the past 2 weeks, we have discussed in the part 1 the background or having an overview of the harmonized system, the ASEAN harmonized tariff nomenclature, and in the part 2, we discussed the structure of the harmonized system along with the different classification basic techniques on how to properly classify goods. And we also had a run through of the different uh, rules from rule 1 to 6. And aside from that, what else we have discussed? I think we have also discussed the dash system and the principles behind other. So in part 3, we will have already the next step after you have properly classified the goods. The next step is to identify the proper duty rates applicable to the product that are classifying. So here we will discuss whether or not such product what's this uh, can avail of the preferential duty rate or will fall under the most favored nation tariff. Okay, so there are certain rules applicable according to their preferential trade agreement of such product. So in the Philippines, just to give you a background, we have I think about 9 FTAs already. Then we also have some grants. I think we have previously three and we have now two, which I will discuss later on. And lastly, we will discuss the principles behind the rules of origin, from origin criteria, accumulation, the minimal operations and processes, neutral elements, and certificate of origin. Okay? Sorry, EJ, would just like to ask, medyo clear ba yung sharing ko ng screen?
Yes po. Clear po.
Okay. Are you showing the screen right now
Yes, sir.
of my presentation?
Opo, sir.
Medyo malabo kasi sa akin. Anyway, okay. So, as I remember, last week, we discussed the word other and the principles behind other. And I think I've promised that we will further discuss other, but we will set that aside first so that we can focus on having an idea about tariff commission and the preferential trade agreements, because the word other is again very not tenacious but very technical in terms of discussion. So I will just have another separate discussion about it because I have prepared about 10 questions again for others. So isasama ko na lang siya. Okay? We'll have another week. If not another week, I will have a discussion group on our Facebook group to discuss the principles of other. Okay? So right now,
Okay,
let's
sir.
focus on our agenda. So to give you a background lang with the Tariff Commission, uh, so I think you already have an idea about Tariff Commission. They work hand in hand with the Bureau of Customs to facilitating trade, and Tariff Commission is under the National Economic Development Authority, as many of you already know. They are the one in charge to provide assistance, uh, consulting or consultancy to the Office of the President, also with with the NEDA when it comes to tariff and trade agreements. So the harmonized system, the harmonized system along with the ASEAN harmonized tariff nomenclature are being reviewed by the Tariff Commission. So the Bureau of Customs are just the enforcing agencies of what has been developed or construed by the Tariff Commission when it comes to the duty rates, the policies and the rules behind the harmonized system. Kasi baka magkaroon tayo ng misconception or idea about the application of these rules. So, just like the trade regulatory government agencies, the rules issued by the trade regulated regulatory government agencies are just being enforced or implemented also by the Bureau of Customs, because the Bureau of Customs serves as the frontliners to the stakeholders of these policies. Okay. Again, tariff commission. So the chief officials of the tariff commissions and qualifications, we have one chairperson and two commissioners. So the executives of the tariff commission are by president appointments. Then all employees shall be appointed by the chairperson as well. Of course, in accordance with the civil service law. So we have to either pass the civil service exam as professional or non-pro, or you may pass the any board exam or bar exam to qualify under RA, sorry, I forgot, 10683. Sorry, I've mistaken with the regulation for the qualification ng civil service for board passers. Anyway, so the functions of the commission are provided under Section 1603 of CMTA. So the ASI part is just a shortcut of mine on how do I familiarize myself or at least recognize some keywords or some keywords of the functions of the commission. I call this context clues. I'll discuss further about the functions of the commission. So the commission reports to the president, to the Congress, every first Monday of December of each year. Okay, the report includes almost the day-to-day tasks of the commission and the development on the trade agreements, and the issuance of different executive orders, along with the statistics of the products being imported and exported in the Philippines. Okay, then please disregard the access documents. I've mistakenly put some details in there. Sworn and verified statements, nothing in particular. So IRRs, the commission shall promulgate and adopt such rules and regulations as may be necessary to carry out the CMTA provisions. This is a very general statement or provision, but just like the Bureau of Customs, who issues Customs Administrative Order, Customs Memorandum Order, the Tariff Commission is also in power to issue such IRRs to clarify some statements and issued by the Tariff Commission. Okay, those that needed a very particular procedure are being issued also with a reflecting memorandum. Okay. So if you will look into your Customs Modernization Tariff Act or RA 10863, Section 1608, you can see their flexible clause. Okay. In the flexible clause, there are several provisions behind it. But what is it about? So it only states that in the flexible clause, the functions of the tariff commissions as well. And not just the tariff commission, but the NEDA and the president. So here in the flexible clause, the imposition of the customs duty are provided. So in A, I just read through this. In the interest of general welfare and national security and subject to the limitations prescribed under the Act, the President, upon the recommendation of the NEDA, is hereby empowered to, first, increase, reduce, or remove existing rates of import duty, including any necessary change in classification. So here, the President is empowered, has the power to either increase, reduce, or remove existing rates. He is also empowered to establish import quotas or ban imports of any commodity. Then the president also may impose an additional duty on all imports not exceeding 10% ad valorem whenever necessary. I actually had a open letter to the National Economic Development Authority about this matter since the pandemic has has occurred in March or April. Um, Dito kasi sa flexible cost, yung power ni president can be make use for of course the economic and the general welfare of the Philippines. Then for example, when the pandemic occurs, I think you have heard already. Sorry Jana, medyo maliit ba? Do I have to hindi ba nababasa? Hindi babasa? Okay,
Stop.
sige Jana, sorry. I'll just EJ, I just like to request, maybe you can provide them the soft copy. I'll send to you later. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, sorry. Ayan, nagzo-zoom naman pala. Okay, is it better? Okay. So where am I again? Okay, so under the section 1608, the flexible clause provision, here we can see here the arrangement or the power of the president and the NEDA to modify the duty rates previously issued. Tulad nga ng sinabi ko, there was issued a bayanihan law. So bayanihan law is not just an executive order but a republic act. Um, Although the bayanihan law does not fall here, but yun nga, the president has the power to change import duty rates despite already the previous commitment on any preferential trade agreements or the MFN provided rates. So kunyari sa MFN 4, we issued a rates of 15%. The president may anytime modify it by issuing another Republic Act or executive order changing the duty rates to either 10%, 5%, 7 or 3%. Okay? Ito yung provisions giving power to the president. Okay, just please be familiarized with the difference of A1, A2 and A3. A2 is very just recently. If you are familiar with the current news about the Brazilian chicken, where the Brazilian chicken is currently on a temporary ban because of the issue about the coronavirus spreading in Shenzhen, China, on the chicken wings tested positive. The Brazilian chicken wings tested positive in Shenzhen, China. So it spread it all over the news. Then the Philippines takes action. We issued the temporary ban for the importation of Brazilian chicken. So that's just another power of the president. Then to impose additional duty of 10% is different in A1. Okay, different with A1. Because on number 1, the power is to increase, reduce, or remove existing rates not exceeding 100% ad valorem. So, pwedeng from 35 going 50, okay? Basta not exceeding 100%. Yung number 3 kasi is just to impose an additional duty. Usually, this is issued under executive order. So, if you are usually visiting the Tariff Commission website, you can see at the bottom left corner different executive orders issued by the president, providing the duty rates for every commodities we have right now under the harmonized system and ASEAN harmonized tariff nomenclature. Okay. Okay. So nothing so technical about the discussion here. This is a ayoko naman sabihin na babasahin mo lang, but it's just that you just have to go through each provision for you to really familiarize with them. So letter B, to conduct an investigation and hold public hearings wherein interested parties shall be afforded reasonable opportunity to be present, to produce evidence, and to be heard. Okay, on letter B, usually this is often um, a function of the Tariff Commission on handling cases also such as by the safeguard duty or safeguard measures, countervailing measures, and the anti-dumping measures. So if you're already familiar with trade remedy measures, you may already know of this one. But if not, I think we will have a separate discussion about trade remedy measures. Okay? Medyo mahaba rin kasi siya. And letter C, the power of the president to increase or decrease rates of import duty within the limits is also uh, relative to A. But ito kasi is lifted in the past. Before kasi we this specific duty where it is in accordance with uh, identifying the applicable duty rates according to their weight or volume. But right now, as we adopt the WTO guidelines or provisions, we depend on the ad valorem duty rates. So according to value, as we identify the duties applicable. Okay. But the president still has the power to either adapt ad valorem or specific duty equivalents. Okay, so letter D, um, just read through this. This is just a uh related to letter A, an imposition of additional duties. Then the power of the president, as provided in this section, shall be exercised only when Congress is not in session. Okay. Hmm, what else? I think that's it for the flexible clause. Again, I would just like to repeat that on the flexible clause, here you can see the provisions on the power of the president to modify, increase, reduce, or remove existing duty rates. Okay. So while on section 1608 rin, I know, supposedly 1609 of the CMTA, I think. So on promotion of foreign trade naman, please just record the section here. Here, these are the provision that we rely into when that the government rely into when entering or joining a when having an international agreement with different countries. Okay? So letter A, the president shall from time to time enter into the trade agreements with foreign governments or instrumentalities thereof. So usually on 1608, the functions of the provisions provided herein are being make use of by mainly the Department of Trade and Industry, since it is the Department of Trade and Industry that usually go off to different countries to do some like negotiations as to um, the duty rates applicable to certain countries. Like for example, when we entered into a bilateral agreement with between the European Union and the Philippines, sorry, EU AFTA pala and the Philippines. So medyo mahaba ang magiging usapan doon. It might take about 5 years or more, I think, before one can conclude a free trade agreement. And just recently, we also had just concluded a ASEAN Hong Kong free trade area. So it is just provided also in here the provisions on promoting the foreign trade. Okay, please just read through this one, and this is important as a student, especially because some of the exams about tariff are lifted here. Okay, please just have a read through this because I cannot explain one by one what's behind the provision because, as we might say, these are self-explanatory also. Okay, okay, EJ and Jana.
Okay, sir. Sir, we have one question from Jana.
Yes, Jana.
Sir, okay lang po babalik po tayo sa flexible tariff sa 1608
Okay, okay.
po? Ayun po. Sa A po kasi, matagal ko na po 'tong question, eh. Yung ano po, yung 1, the existing rates may be increased or decreased to any level in one or several stages. So, gusto ko lang po malaman, sir, kung ano pong difference or yung meaning po doon sa any level, tapos yung in one or several stages po.
Sorry, to any level, you mean? What's the difference between the
Hello
decrease
po?
to any level? Hello? Jana, am I
Yes
getting your
po,
question right?
sir. Pati yung
Your
in one
question
or
is
several stages.
what's the difference between the decrease to any level in one or several stages? Tama?
Yes po. Or yung meaning po mismo. Kasi since, ayun nga po, may level po and then may
Okay.
stages pa po.
The thought in this provision is the president is empowered to one, of course, to increase it on any level. When we say to any level, let's say for example, if the duty rate applicable right now is 35%, the president is empowered or may change it to 10% in that kind of level. Pwede niyang gawin anytime, 35 to 10% immediately. Pwede niya naman gawin,
Okay
for
po.
example, in year 2021, from 35% in 2020, we will have 15% on 2021, then 5% on 2022. So may leveling. Pwede niyang
Okay
gano'n,
po.
hindi outright na ika-cut niya from 35% to 5%. Okay? So
Okay
that's
po.
just the difference about that one. I can relate this provision to excise taxes. So if you can see excise taxes, well, most of the excise taxes are increasing. So that one also has several stages. Okay, there's no fixed rate there's a fixed rate uh on a certain date, 2020, 2021, 2022. Yun yung several stages that we're saying. Okay?
Okay, sir.
I'm just
Thank you
relating
po.
it to the application of excise taxes.
Okay, sir.
Okay?
Thank you po.
Sure, sure. EJ, Jana, and I think we have who just joined us.
Steven, sir. Hi, Steven.
Hi, Steven. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So, are we good? Yeah, are we good?
Yes, sir.
Just
Clear
read through
po.
the provision. Please
Yes,
just
sir.
read through the provisions because medyo mahaba siya.